Hello, this is Zofia Kępińska, empathic here and now. And this is the second episode of my podcast in English. I would like to tell you a little bit more about attachment parenting. In the first episode, I talked about some of the issues that make up what attachment parenting is, but there is a lot to say about attachment parenting. There are many threads here, and I didn't mention some of them before. So today I would like to tell you about some other important pieces of attachment parenting. The first thing is totally obvious to me. Maybe that's why I haven't told you about it, because it's so obvious. And yeah, now I want to emphasize it very, very strongly. In attachment parenting, we renounce any violence against the child. This should be the domain of parenting in general, not just when it's called attachment parenting. We reject violence in any form: physical violence, psychological violence. It's such a hard topic. I think that when we get into the subject of psychological violence, it might not be so clear to everyone that some parenting techniques used by parents or recommended by some child trainers are basically violent techniques. Violence means all situations in which the discomfort of a child is intentionally created in order to influence the child's behavior. So violence is when parents make the child feel guilty. For example, if you don't clean up the toys, mom will feel sad. Or, look at the state you have put me in. It's your fault. You feel it? Making the child feel guilty. Another type of violence is shaming the child. For example, by comparing. Look, all the children are calm, only you are the one crying. Your friend has eaten everything so nicely, and what are you doing? What about you? Everyone is looking at you. Scaring the child. If you don't calm down, I will leave you here. See what kind of message the child gets in this. I'm for you and with you when you behave as I expect. If you don't, you can't count on me. Time out technique. Go to your room and don't come back until you have calmed down. Wow. Do you see what is in this? Yeah. When a child is struggling with difficult emotions, he needs a lot of support. And instead, not only does he not get it, but he learns that he is not welcome with everything he experiences. Conditional love. Conditional acceptance. Sad, isn't it? Any use of your superiority as an adult to break the will of a child is violence. For example, forcing a child to eat. This is a clear violence against the child's boundaries. Another thing, the words that we use in relation to the child. I have already talked about this attention to the language in the first episode. Because language can also be very violent and hurtful. Words have a big power. Punishing the child. Of course, this is violence. But some parents say that they don't punish their children. They just take the consequences. And they think that if they warn the child about the punishment, it's not a punishment but a consequence. Being consequence, being consistent. For example, a parent says to a child, if you do that again, you will not watch the cartoon. And the child does this thing once again, and consequently, parent does not allow him to watch the cartoon. Or a message like this: you must bear the consequences of your behavior, and the child gets a punishment. These are not consequences, but these are really simply punishments. Consequence is when it follows naturally from the course of a thing. Like the child, for example, the child spilled juice on the floor. And the consequence is not that the child has to go to his room and sit there alone for half an hour. Or that the parents are shouting and they tell him that he's inattentive and keeps breaking things and he's making mess all the time. No, only the consequence is that juice is spilled on the floor and the cup is empty. The rest is up to the parent to decide how to react. If something is not a natural result from an event, it's not a logical consequence. It's not consequence at all. The question of punishments and rewards. Another thread, big topic. I want to tell you right away that in attachment parenting, we reject this whole system of punishments and rewards. And I know that while for many parents not using punishments is obvious, when it comes to rewards, there are doubts. But wait, rewards are cool, they reinforce good child's behavior, they are positive, so why not rewards? In fact, punishment and reward are two sides of the same coin. Both are a form of manipulation. In the case of punishment, it's based on fear. And rewards? It could be that the child does something because he's afraid that if he don't do it, he won't get the reward. Fear, again. Fear of punishment, fear of no reward. Pressure to deserve a reward. If I don't get the reward, it means I don't deserve it. Then maybe I'm not enough. Am I not good enough at this moment? Maybe I have failed? Have I not matched my parents' expectations? Are they disappointed? Probably they are. Back to punishments. A child who is punished really doesn't learn how to solve difficult situations. He puts all his energy into how to avoid punishment. And the difficult situation and what is really there to deal with is relegated to the background. The problem is not solved. It's just overshadowed by the subject of the punishment and all the stress involved. Here the child doesn't have the space to think together with the supportive parent about how to solve the situation. The child's brain is not even able to learn anything from the situation because a brain that is under stress and fear does not learn. It's not able to look for a way to protect itself from the fear and learn anything useful about the problem in the same time. This is how the brain works. All the energy put into avoiding punishment, which is completely understandable. The child being punished also gets this message that whoever is bigger, stronger, can decide. He can decide about the smaller and the weaker, even by drastically overstepping his boundaries. It's also a message that any method can be used to achieve a goal. You can hit, intimidate, bribe, shame. anything can be used because it's the effect that counts. The end justifies the means. All tricks allowed. This is the message that a child who is treated violently gets. There is no place for an authentic cooperation where we treat each other as subjects, where we respect each other, where we listen to each other, where we find out how everyone feels, what everyone needs in that situation, how we can take care of these feelings and needs, how we can take care of this situation, what we can learn from it. No, the world of punishments and rewards is about the child doing what the parents expect. Obedience. And of course, the child's will can be broken by these methods. Unfortunately, it can. You can achieve a lot by creating fear in a child. And you can lose the trust in the same time. But the change in the child might also be only apparent. It means that the child is still doing what he used to do, but he makes a lot of effort to hide it. So parents think that he's not doing it anymore because he's just afraid. He's just afraid of the reaction. Yeah. So this is the negation of an honest, authentic, open relationship. There is no room here for the child's no. And in attachment parenting, this no of the child is highly valued. It's important that the child's no is heard, noticed, accepted, taken into account. It's really good to support your child in saying no. You know why? Because saying no is a very important skill in life. It's simply about boundaries. It's about the ability to protect yourself. It's about knowing that I have boundaries and where I have them. If we accept that our child has his own disagreements and that he expresses them, we will help the child to learn one important lesson: how I can take care of myself and my boundaries. Because I think that when it comes to boundaries, it's not that parents teach their child about boundaries. Like, you must do this, you cannot do that, or you have to behave like this. No, what a parent can do for a child is not stop him from learning where he has boundaries and learning to talk about them, to have connection with them. I think the best thing you can do in terms of boundaries is to show your child where you have your own. Not showing him where are his, because he knows that and he has to figure out it, he has to find them, and then he'll tell you. But showing him yours boundaries, and that's a great lesson. Because it turns out that mom has it this way and dad has it that way. What annoys brother for grandmother might be okay, etc. It shows the child that we are different. We have different boundaries in different places. We perceive the same thing differently, and that is okay. And in all this, there is the child who also has his own way. Everyone is different, and it's normal and great. If we want our child to respect other people's boundaries, then the child first needs to know that his boundaries are respected. Another topic that came to my mind when I thought about attachment parenting is the topic of beliefs or convictions. I think it's worth looking at what beliefs we have about parenting. This is really another great big topic. Which I have been exploring for some time and which I found really fascinating. Taking a look at your beliefs, catching them in general, catching them, just making yourself aware of what they are, can be extremely helpful. In attachment parenting, it's also a bit about managing your beliefs, checking what beliefs I have about my relationship with my child and whether those beliefs support me or not. Do they support my relationship with my child? Or, for example, I feel that I would like to do something in this way, and I see that it would be good for my child, but there is a belief that stops me. And then I'm torn. And then it turns out that it's just some conviction, some belief that I don't even know where I got it from. Maybe I heard it from someone in my family, maybe I read it somewhere, maybe this belief exists strongly in the culture in which I live, but it's so strongly coded in me that it switches on like automatically. And it bothers me. It could be, for example, the belief that it's impossible to raise a child without rewards and punishments. Or that you shouldn't help a child who asks for help with an activity he already knows how to do. This belief can be followed by other beliefs, because they usually come in herds. For example, the belief that the child is lazy, that he takes advantage of the parents, that if I help him, I will hurt him somehow because he will never be independent. For example, a child who already knows how to dress himself asks, "Mommy, dress me. Can you dress me, please?" By the way, this situation does not concern skills at all. It's just about relationships. It's a signal, will you take care of me? Will you be there for me even if I'm getting more and more independent, bigger and bigger? Will you be there for me? Because I still need you. It's from a place of bonding, simply. Another belief I often heard when I was carrying my son in a sling is that you shouldn't carry a baby because he will get used to it. Another strong belief. And he will get used to what, by the way? To closeness, to the fact that he's safe in the arms of the parent. So great then. So what we can do is look at our convictions, our beliefs, and not follow those that do not support us, and choose, find those that work for us. And another topic in the attachment parenting, and that came to my mind, is closeness, physical closeness. Hugs, kisses, tender touch, all those moments when there is physical contact. A child needs this very much from the first seconds, skin-to-skin contact. While I am on the subject of physical closeness, I will now tell you about the 7 baby bees, which were systematized and described by William and Martha Sears. They are exactly not creators of attachment parenting, because in fact attachment parenting practices already existed a long time ago, like some kind of natural parenting when you follow your, let's say, instinct, But Mr. and Mrs. Sears called all these practices as attachment parenting, systematized them and promoted them. So here are the 7 baby bees by Martha and William Sears. Birth bonding, so this physical closeness from the beginning. Breastfeeding, baby wearing, bedding close to baby, or how we call it, co-sleeping. Believe in the language value of your baby's cry. So it's about this, that when child cries, there is some message for you in this. It's how childs communicate the best he can. Beware of baby trainers, because there is a lot of advice on raising a child, a lot of techniques that are recommended, and a lot of it is based on modeling the child's behavior. cry it out technique. You leave your child when the child is crying until he will stop. All the techniques that are not really about following your child and trust your child and learn the communication, but just modeling child's behavior. And another thing, balance. Simply means that when you take care of a child, don't forget to take care of yourself too, and of your relationship with your parent. Okay. So attachment parenting is an approach rather than a strict set of rules. It's responsive parenting. It's belief in the abilities of both the child and the parent. Confidence that we are learning, not only the child is learning, but also the parent. That we have the resources within us to create these relationships. That we have skills. That the child is looking for that connection. That child cooperates. We recognize the dignity of every person, no matter their age. I see in my child another special, unique human being. And belief that a good, safe relationship with my child is the best I can give him and the best environment for my child to grow in. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you so much. Zofia Kępińska, Empathic Here and Now. Bye.